are your top tips and tricks for ordering a Ford Maverick, Bronco, F150, Lightning, Mach-E, Ford Ranger, etc.? Who wants to start?
I'll let Tim start. I'll let the legend start.
I think especially if you're wanting to get in early and get one, to go into the dealership and do that pre-order, and at least letting them know that you're planning to order with them. Some of them will have a line, some of them, depending on the dealer, how big they are, it may be that the salesperson may have a list, and when they go to take those orders to the desk or to that manager, then which order they're going to put in first, second, third. And I think so that I think it's important to get in there ahead of time. I know some people say a pre-order is not really that important, because if they have somebody in front of them, they're going to order that one first. But if you're local, maybe do both. Maybe get in there, have the conversations, because I think it's important that you find out from your dealer. And I've been saying this in a lot of my videos recently, our complete guide videos, is that make sure that you know what the dealership's going to price, how they're going to price. Ask them those things about what's their do they know about price protection? Are they going to honor that? Do they know how to lock those incentives in, which is actually not something that they do. Ford does it for them, but do they know how to treat that order when it comes in? Do they know these things? Because if they're stumbling and they don't know those things, then I'd be a little scared. You might want to continue to look for a dealer locally, if you want to go locally and such, and then also find out whether or not they're going to add anything there. I think that's the common theme lately, is that dealers are going, yes, we're going to price an MSRP, but you have to get this protective film, you have to get this window tint that comes on every vehicle, no option. It's going to cost $2,000, so you have to pay that. So really, what you're doing is you're pricing it $2,000 up instead. Just be transparent about it. But I say making those conversations so what you have. When that day when you're ready to go into the dealership, then you're ready to do that with that order and such. I think that's a big tip. Is for me, I would say get that all done ahead of time.
And that's, if I can add on to your point, one thing that makes me lose hair and get more grays in the beard and on the head are YouTube videos that like to just take turns being like, Ford's completely corrupt, Toyota's completely corrupt, and they just go one brand after another. Or sometimes there's some channels that just like to only pick on Ford, and then there's other channels that only like to pick on Dodge. But I don't find that, as a consumer of information, I don't find that helpful. It's not information I can use to, the purpose of our channel. And don't forget, folks, to subscribe to Tim Bart's channel, Long MacArthur Ford, and to Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. Hit that subscribe button and bell notification so you don't miss any information. But the reason I don't find the type of information that's just all doom and gloom helpful is because I don't gain anything in my life knowing that some dealers are, charging really an upcharge on orders. What does help me is to know, how do I avoid that upcharge? Toyota, for example, right now, they're also having that issue. The manufacturer is having an issue with many of its dealers. Some of these dealers, actually, you can't avoid it. You can go state after state, and because it's really only one or two corporations that own all the Toyota dealerships across these states, you could have to drive 12 hours before you hit a state where they won't have the same over MSRP or fair market adjustment. They like to say they don't, like Tim mentioned, because it will be paying $1,500 for a wrap on the front, or maybe it's an anti-theft system for $3,000 when in reality the cost on the product is $400. So one way or another, and there's one way or another, these dealerships can end up having you pay an extra $5,000, $6,000, or $7,000 over the manufacturer suggested retail price, no matter where you go, unless you're willing to really drive out a long way. So I think, Tim, you really said it well. The best tips and tricks we can give you for ordering your Ford, or really ordering from any manufacturer, is to work with the dealership and see if they're willing to work with you. Because some dealerships aren't going to be willing to work with you, and it's just they've got an attitude of it's It's our way or the highway. So you need to look into that. And sometimes the add-ons are sort of, dealerships, the internet likes to pick on dealerships a lot these days, and fairly, some dealers are doing things in a very difficult manner, a very frustrating manner. But often these are the dealerships that also, for decades, sold well below the price that they're supposed to sell. And some dealerships have gone bankrupt. Actually, a lot of dealerships have gone bankrupt. And in the past, manufacturers didn't mind one bit. They're like, great, you sold a lot of vehicles and you sold them basically on average at cost. And once you paid your electricity and mortgage, well, over a 3-year period, you went out of business. But hey, you guys moved metal for us. We're happy because now we've got a new guy willing to pay the franchise fee. We've got a new owner, a new millionaire coming in, willing to risk his millions to have a dealership. And if it doesn't work out for him, it didn't cost the manufacturers anything to have these business people go out of business. And if you're working at these dealerships, as long as the new owner came in and didn't fire everyone, often you just say, you guys know how to do the job? Good, because I'm new at this. I don't really know how to do the job. I know how to run a business, but I don't know what a Toyota is or a Ford or a GM. Really happy you've got sales guys here who've gone through 3 different owners, but I'm the owner that knows how to run this business, and I'm going to run it and I'm going to make a profit. But then because of market competition, sometimes 3, 4, 5, 10 years later, they also went out of business. So that's one of the reasons why I've been pretty big on the idea. I like the idea of fixed pricing. I have no issues with Ford saying that EVs are going to be sold all at one price, one fair price. That way, we've seen it recently with the Mach-E. If Ford decides to drop 7 or 8% or 10% off the price of the vehicle, everyone benefits equally. Whether you're a really hard negotiator or you're too nice for your own good, you end up paying the same price. Everyone gets a fair deal. But when we're talking outside, and this is going to take effect more so, you can correct me, Tim, if I'm wrong, but my understanding is the contracts us dealers have signed, we've got to be selling at Ford set pricing for when those contracts go into effect, which is January 2024. But before that, some dealers will still play around with the price on the electric vehicles. And I do have a really good feeling from sort of inside talk that if this works out for the EVs and that they're still selling in volumes and it helps Ford achieve their goal of being number 1 or number 2 when it comes to EV sales in North America, that we could very well see this slowly take effect on the gasoline powered vehicles.
And I just heard you like 1 or 2 minutes ago speaking about dealer that went out of business. We had a question at the same time about that subject, so I don't know if one of you had the answer. What do you do if your dealer went out of business and you're still on the waiting list for Maverick 2023?
I'm going to let Tim answer this if you're ready, because I've heard you answer this really well in the past, and your wording was better than mine.
Yeah, if you're with a dealer, if you have an order with a dealer, that order's in there, then that dealer goes out of business. Ford will give those orders and the vehicles when they come in to another dealer. So they'll usually tell you this dealer's going out of business, that order or that vehicle is going over to this dealer when it comes in. So you don't lose it. It's shifted to a different dealer. So.
That's good.
I would sit down with the new team, meet whoever is going to be your new sales consultant, and do make sure, bring in your paperwork and say, look, the previous dealer was going to sell it to me at the price I ordered it at. Here's their signature. Can you get your manager to add his signature on this as well, so that I know that when the vehicle comes in, I know what price I'm going to pay. I'm not going to pay more than MSRP. And whether, and it depends on the dealer. Some dealers will promise you, what, when it comes in, we're going to have these upcharges. Then you can either say yes, or you can look elsewhere. They might also say, well, when it comes in, we're going to sell it to you at whatever the MSRP is, with, no added dealer fee and no forced upcharges. You don't have to take any products or any accessories. but we will sell it to you at whatever that window sticker is. And then you've got other dealers like Long MacArthur Ford that, you know, if you order with them, I think it's pretty awesome. When the vehicle comes in, they're going to take care of you in regards to the price that you ordered at, as long as it comes in as that model year vehicle. And I think there's been a bit of confusion in the community about that. You know, if you ordered back in 2021 and you end up getting a 24, you're not going to pay that original 2021 MSRP because you're not getting a 2022, which was the original plan. The price has gone up, but Ford, for dealers that know how to go and get it, like we did for your order, we can go out and get your special rebate if the order was COVP'd, confirmed order verification. I always say process, but I think I sometimes get my P's confused. But if the dealer knows how to go back and claim that, they won't lose anything. Now, if they don't know how to claim it, well, then yeah, the $3,850 rebate we gave you, if we didn't claim it correctly, we would have lost that money. And that's much more than the profit margin. And I shouldn't say profit, the revenue margin that's on a Ford Maverick. The revenue that's available on a Ford Maverick is just about enough to be able to keep the lights on in the building. This isn't the Ford Maverick isn't a big money maker for dealers. They'll pay the electricity and that's about it.
Yes.